as Marcus Aurelius is listing the virtues he finds important in those people in his life. He mentions one trait about his mother that has stuck with me for a while, but I never understood why, until now. I'm going to read you the quote, then I'll share a story from Reddit that applies to it, and then I'll explain how it ties in. See if you can figure it out before I get there, and then realize that if you're looking for a partner, this is actually the most important trait to look for. Here's what Marcus cherished about his mother: her reverence for the divine, her generosity, her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it, and the simple way she lived, not in the least like the rich. This is one of the most profound realizations, and here's the story from Reddit. Essentially, this woman thought that after having lost her baby weight, she was a catch. She was 31 years old and a stay-at-home mom, and was pleased that she had her husband wrapped around her finger. She would do different things to manipulate him, and get him to do things around the house even though he was working full-time. And one of these tactics was threatening divorce. Even though her husband tried to make it work, eventually they did divorce, and now, 10 years later, she's regretting it. Her husband is married to a 31-year-old woman who's beautiful, they have a kid together, and live happily ever after. While she is now in her 40s, can't seem to get anyone to date her on a long term, and even though she won the house in the divorce, she has no one to share it with. It's easy for us to say she got what she deserved, and move on. But bringing it back to this Marcus Aurelius quote, and the virtue that he saw in his mother, is important. Her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it. This man dodged a bullet, because his wife not only conceived of doing wrong, but she actually did it. It makes me think how yes, this woman did make a mistake. She ended an agreement thinking she could do better, and her life was ruined for it. But what about all the people who maybe don't do wrong, but it's not because they aren't thinking of it? This one was overconfident, yes. Did wrong, yes. It probably hurt her husband for a bit, but in the end, he's better off as he didn't have to spend the rest of his life with someone who was conceived of doing him dirty. In the end though, it did go bad for her, and he won. But what about all the men and women in the world who only don't do wrong simply because they don't have the opportunity to? Even if this wrong never manifests, it's only for a lack of opportunity. This woman could have stayed with her husband, and he would have tried to make it work, but she still would have wanted to leave him. So how do we suss this out in people? Everyone attacked Tiger Woods for giving men a bad name by having 7 girlfriends behind his wife's back. But what if it wasn't due to virtue that they weren't doing that, but just because the opportunity wasn't there? How many people, if given every opportunity in the world, would choose to do the right thing? Marcus Aurelius is a special individual because he had the power to do wrong and didn't take advantage of it. He could have had any material thing that he wanted. He could have slept with any woman on earth that he saw. If he had an enemy, he could have had them killed and there would be no repercussions from those actions. But he didn't do that. That's what makes him special. But how many of us are like that? How many people are only good because they don't have the confidence to take the wrong action? Fear keeps them in place, not goodness. You want someone who not only isn't doing anything wrong, but isn't even thinking about doing it. You want to find someone who, if given the opportunity to betray you, no matter what the benefits are to them, they wouldn't do it. You need to look for this trait in your friends, in your partner, in anyone that you keep around you. This loyalty is the main trait that I'm personally looking for in a woman, and this is a trait that you should be looking for as well. But it's tough because how many people are there like that out there? And how would you even find out? Of course, there's a friendly reminder here that if you expect your partner to have this trait, you should be developing it in yourself as well. You yourself need to not do wrong. But then it brings up another question on, is it really virtue if you don't have that temptation? Are you better for being moral because you don't have any immoral thoughts? Or are you better for having immoral thoughts but overcoming them and doing the right thing?